People, them views, tube. We're back. We're back. I realize I haven't done nothing on this one for a little bit. So I thought, raw, might as well put something together and check in with some gangs and bangs. First and foremost, like, share, subscribe. You know how we do it already. Make sure you're showing some love. If you want to see me react to something, then drop it in the comments and we'll get to it. Again, steering away from the music at the moment for copyright reasons. But of course, if something big drops, we'll just keep it moving regardless. Do you know what I'm saying? But anyway, enough of the waffling. Today, West London's deadliest gangs, HRB. Now, obviously being from Northwest London and close to Harrow Road, some of this stuff I kind of have heard about, but at the same time, I'm a little bit older than a lot of the Donnies that's doing what they're doing at the minute, so I don't know everything, do I? Do you know what I'm trying to say? But we hear certain little bits here and there. So we're going to find out together, people, like we always do. Enough of the waffling. Let's get straight to it. This one's by Skyboy today, actually, so big him up. And I'll make sure I get the link to the video down below.
Today, I'll be doing a deep dive into West London's deadliest gang, the Harrow Road Boys. I'll be piecing together the history of the Mozart estate and how their residents became one of the most lethal gangsters in the city. I hope to present a clear timeline of each gang's origin and how things transpired the way they did.
Westminster's biggest problem with vandals is here on the Mozart estate in North Kensington.
See, in the early 90s, Mozart was known for his lucrative drug trade and nicknamed Crack City. During this period, Mozart and South Kilburn were united. Mozart was also cool with Ladbroke Grove, who during this period would name...
This is what I'm saying. Obviously, like in the 90s, that's when I was kind of knocking about, do you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't big problems with people from Zart, people from wherever. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It didn't really seem like it was going on like that. Or it'd just be individual things. It wouldn't be like a whole kind of area. But it's a little bit different now. The same with Ladbroke Grove, really, but we did that was a little bit further out. Mozart estate, around that time, gang members who resided in Mozart were known as the Mozart Mexicans. The prominent figure of Mozart was known as Booker T.
Named them the Mozart Mexicans. Lead figures of the Mozart Mexicans included Double OG, Big Mecca, and Ricky Platts. Double OG was the father of G Dots, Little Dots, and Wu. Now, a key player during this Mozart era was a man known as Sutty. Sutty and his crew were feared throughout the city, and he was known to be a live wire. Rumors Sutty would pretend to squash beef with guys, lean in for a deceptive hug, and then stab them in their ribs. His brutal reign of violence would soon turn fatal. On the 29th of October 1993, Sutty and gang would shoot dead a trapper called David Clark on Bravington Road, Maida Vale. David Clark's gold chain would also be taken.
So I know that road well. Obviously, I used to go to school in Maida Vale. So when we was doing the Digger D one, they was talking about Lanark Road. That was my secondary school when I was there. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not a good thing, kids. Stay in school. You know what I mean? At least try and get a little something. But anyway.
A 22-year-old man who had lived in Portnall Road in North Paddington was charged with his murder, but was later acquitted. Now, Mark Lambie was known as the Prince of Darkness and was a known shooter and leader of the Tottenham Mandem. He was very cool with Sutty and his Mozart goons. Mark Lambie's Tottenham Mandem had war with Hoxton-based crew Love of Money, and due to Sutty's friendship with Lambie, he inherited his beef. In 1996, police believed that Lambie and Sutty were behind the shooting and wounding of Kenneth Rowe in Willesden. Rowe, originally from Stamford Hill, had been a part of a gang of steamers from South Tottenham, Stamford Hill and Clapton, called a DMC posse.
So what was he doing over in Northwest then? It's not like no one travels, because people from South and North have been coming to Northwest for a minute. Same for East and West, to be fair. But, you know, like when you think about it, for that to be a place you get killed, it's not on your normal stomping ground, innit? But look at the old school pictures, man. Mad.
In the late 1980s, the term steamers are used for groups involved in robbery, often snatching chains, phones, or mugging on public transport or streets. Now, Rowe declined to aid police in the shooting. The following April, in what appeared to be an attack against Lambie, 2 men were shot in a case of mistaken identity at a place-to-be Caribbean restaurant in Kensal Rise. 3 men walked into the restaurant asking for Mark to identify himself. Mark Lambie, who was believed to have been there, kept quiet. Instead, 2 other men identified themselves, and taking no precautions, the gunmen shot both. One was Mark Spence, an unemployed painter and decorator, who was immediately shot dead. The other was Mark Verley, who was shot in the spine and paralyzed. He died.
Hold on. What is the chances you go into this food shop, yeah? Obviously, Lambie must be over this side catching up with Sutty or whatnot. You go to the food shop and there's 3 different Marks in the shop. And if you're just a sieve and people come in and start talking about who's Mark, you probably want to shut your mouth, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's mad. 3 Marks in the food shop at one time. That seems mad to me.
Sometime later. Now, it is not known whether or not Kenneth Rowe was one of the gunmen acting out revenge, but 6 weeks later, on the 15th of June 1997, allegedly Sutty and Mark Lambie will shoot dead Kenneth Rowe in Mount Pleasant Lane, Upper Clapton. Mark Lambie and Sutty, suspects in the earlier shooting, were arrested, although there was insufficient evidence, so were released. Now, 3 weeks after the death of Kenneth Rowe, Sutty, real name Clifford Angle, was shot dead as he sat in Lambie's BMW outside the Warwick Castle pub in Portobello Road. The gunman had pulled up beside him in a yellow car and calmly shot him 6 times. Now, they say money is the root of all evil, and with both Mozart and South Kilburn making big money from their dealings, it would eventually lead to them falling out due to money-related issues and vying for control. During 2007, American gangbanging culture would seep into London. The Blood vs Crip phase would emerge with Mozart flagging the colour red, along with affiliates St. Raph's and Kensal Green, rivaling South Kilburn, Stonebridge, Ladbroke Grove, etc., who wore blue. Colour banging got so bad that people were scared to wear anything red or blue in these areas, even if they weren't involved. Mozart also had beef with Church Road, and
yeah, I remember when all of that first started happening. I'm just like, really? We was laughing at that shit. You know what I'm saying? My name's really doing up the colours. Now, obviously, you see it a lot more prominent, green, black. But back then, that was like, really? Like, that's some American thing. Like, what's going on, sort of thing. But yeah, my name was doing it for real, though. I definitely remember that.
Shepherd Bush during this time. Now, DB9 was the founder and boss of HRB, which stood for Harrow Road Boys. HRB is a link-up of 3 areas: Mozart, Kensal Green, and Warwick. Other important members in HRB included the son of fallen Mozart legend Sutty, who was also called Sutty in his honor, Ratlin, Boss Belly, Hersey, Billy the Kid, and Fredo, to name a few. In 2011, Boss Belly was the face of Mozart and HRB in general. His rap songs would rack millions of views. In Mozart, he was a lieutenant who had authority over his youngers Fredo, Mouth, Sav, Billy the Kid, etc.
Hey, back, bust my fucking belly up in this mouth. I don't even need to say my motherfucking name, B. I know me. Yeah.
2011 was also the same year Ratlin dropped his Messiah remix. It became one of the first videos on Link Up TV to amass 1 million views and became a classic and staple in UK rap history. It was a very good year musically for the Mozart estate. On the 29th of September 2011, a teenage girl named Jessica Critchlow was shot with a shotgun all over her upper body as she cradled her 11-month-old baby. This was a joint ride-out by South Kilburn and Ladbroke Grove. Jessica Critchlow suffered face, neck and chest injuries when a South Kilburn gang member, armed with a shotgun, fired into a crowd of young people on the ride.
I was going to say, on a ride-out, for a mum holding her baby, like someone really did that, but nah. But that's what happens, remember, because we talk about recurring themes over here, and here's another one. When you shoot into crowds, stuff like this happens. Yeah, unfortunately. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I always say that. Know who you're with, know who you're getting, and try your best to get those people in it. And that's even if you're doing all of that. Not that you should be. I think you kind of know what I'm trying to get at. Jesus Christ, bro.
Rival Mozart Estate. A year later, and South Kilburn targeted HRB once again. On the 11th of September 2011, HRB member Hersey would be shot in the chest twice on the Mozart Estate by South Kilburn members. He was taken to hospital where his condition was initially described as life-threatening. However, he recovered later and was said to be in stable condition. The government would later deport Hersey to the Netherlands. At around 12:30 a.m. on the 14th of December 2012, 15-year-old HRB member G. Dots was driving a Nissan Micra illegally in the Brent area of northwest London. When marked police officers attempted to pull him over, he failed to stop. A short pursuit followed, and the car crashed into the tree at the junction of Bronsbury Park and Honeyman Close. G. Dots was pronounced dead at the scene. 3 passengers were also injured, one 19-year-old in critical condition, and 2 others in serious but stable conditions.
This family's just lost like a few of the boys, in it. 2 of them. And what, G Dots is locked up right now? Not G Dots. Little Dots. That's mad. That's mad. Man said Bronsbury in that. Yeah. Killy. Back in the day, yeah, South Killy, but it was just all Killy. Now it's all like 3 different sides almost, you get me?
30th of August 2015, Europe's largest street festival, Notting Hill Carnival, took place in West London on August bank holiday. Around 20 HRB members would duck down 20 Shepherd Bush ops. HRB member Chippy would stab 12 anti-member Jeezy in the neck with a broken bottle because Jeezy was super close with South Kilburn members. C Biz's ER batch to be specific. During these times, Shepherd Bush was also cool with Ladbroke Grove's very own CGM. Now, by the end of 2015, Boss Belly came out of prison after facing 14 years. He was put on ASBO by the police and was banned from the borough of Westminster City, where Mozart Estate was located. Boss Belly accused Mouth of snitching on him and telling police that he was hanging from a window of a car and shooting a man. The same boys under Boss Belly like Fredo, Capo, Sav, Billy the Kid, etc., would take Mouth's side in a power struggle. It didn't help that Boss Belly tried to get them in line. See, yesterday's youngsters were now grown men and they weren't going for that. The likes of Ratlin, Wu, and a few others would remain neutral. The following year, on the 1st of March 2016, Fredo would become a rapper and debut his single, They Ain't 100, and it would blow up instantly, propelling him to stardom. Labels would come knocking and he would sign a record deal. He used his newfound fame and riches to strengthen his grip on Mozart. Seeing as he was the meal ticket for the rest of the guys, it's only right he became a leader. Now, Boss Belly, who was banned from Mozart, would start chilling in Kensal Green and formed his own new batch there called OL, which stood for Outlaw Living. Fredo would form the set PG, which stood for Pattern Gang. Boss Belly once attempted to come to Mozart and on the orders of Fredo was shot at by Billy the Kid. On the 24th of March 2016, Fredo was stabbed.
It's mad because now I'm hearing some of this is ringing all types of bells. The little power struggle that happened. So all of this stuff is relatively true, innit? Do you know what I'm saying?
By CGM member CJ. Fredo was left fighting for his life at the junction of 3rd Avenue at 7:30.
Yeah. He's like, none of my ops, they run when they see me. Billy the Kid as well, rest in peace, man. Like on my sports channel, sometimes I talk. Sometimes did I? I think I might spoke about this. Like we were talking about how crazy like the law can be. So him, I don't even want to go over the story. You know the story. They might even talk about it a little bit in this, actually, to be fair.
On the 24th of March 2016, Fredo was stabbed by CGM member CJ. Fredo was left fighting for his life at the junction of 3rd Avenue at 7:30 p.m. Fortunately for him, he was treated at hospital and survived. 2 days later, HRB would retaliate. HRB member K-Kid would catch CGM member CJ lacking nearby Ladbroke Grove and stab him in his eye, leaving him with this nasty scar on his face. 2016 Notting Hill Carnival, HRB members would film themselves in enemy territory. On the 26th of May 2017, an innocent bystander in Mohana Abduhu was fatally shot in Kilburn, northwest London, when 2 HRB gang members on bicycles opened fire. The bullet that struck her ricocheted off the wall, hitting Mohana in the back and severing a major artery. She tragically died at the scene. It was later confirmed she was not the intended target for the gunman. The case shocked the community as Mohana had been enjoying time with friends when the shooting occurred. Now, two men, Capo, real name Mohammed Tawfiq, and Killian Granham, were initially arrested and charged with murder. However, after trial, both were acquitted due to insufficient evidence to directly link them to the crime. The case highlights the issues of gang violence and the danger faced by innocent people caught in such situations. On the 24th of September 2018, around 9 p.m, a man and his pregnant girlfriend had just returned from dinner and were getting out of their car in the car park area outside their home in Woodchester Square, Maida Vale, West London. HRB found that DB9 and his brother DB7, along with 3 other men in balaclavas, approached. They tried to drag their pregnant girlfriend into a stolen transit van driven by DB7 using false.
I was gonna say, I've been seeing a lot of like the footage and bare like little old school scenes of Rugrat, and I was thinking, why didn't they mention him? I swear he was Zart, innit? Left in the alley where the rats are, you know what I'm saying? I thought, what, no one, they didn't really mention him.
Place. She managed to escape. The man was bundled into the van and driven away. The gang repeatedly punched and kicked him while driving around London. They later transferred him to the rear footwell of a second stolen car, driven by Bradley Evans, and continued beating him. At around 1:05 to 1:15 a.m. on the 25th of September 2018, they took him to Bradley Evans' home on Fulham Palace Road, Fulham. There, he was tied up, bound in a bath for about 12 hours. He was repeatedly kicked and punched again, and corrosive fluid was poured all over him, causing burns to his skin. Now, while holding him, the gang contacted the victim's mother via an unregistered mobile phone number. They demanded money and let her speak to her son, who pleaded that he would be killed if she didn't pay. Now, the mother paid around £6,000, but the gang demanded more and refused to release him. They then demanded the victim's Rolex watch, instructing her to leave it on the tire of a specified parked car. CCTV captured Jamal Gordon Harris collecting the watch. While the watch was being picked up, the victim was dumped on the side of the road. A member of the public helped him and he was taken to hospital. The stolen vehicles were later found burned out in northwest London. All 5 men were found guilty of conspiracy to kidnap at Harrow Crown Court. They were sentenced on Friday, 12th of July 2019. DB9, real name Aston Rochester, sentenced to 11 years and 3 months. DB7, real name Denzel Rochester, sentenced to 9 years and 9 months. Bradley Evans was sentenced to 10 years and 3 months. Jamal Gordon Harris was sentenced to 10 years and 3 months. And finally, Ranel Ruti, 9 years and 9 months. On the 2nd of January,
You know, kidnapped for some DBDBP, innit? Like, I suppose back then, like, you know what I mean? Especially if it was a real Rolex, but it depends on how bust down it is. If it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? It might be a little dibby thing, and then like all in, you've got under 10 quid. Like, who kidnapped someone for under 10 quid? That's mad to me anyway, but there you go.
2019, Digger D along with fellow CGM members will travel to Harrow Road to look for HRB members.
We see this footage all the time at the crossroads.
Now, armed with baseball bats and machetes, they would spot HRB members and a fight ensued. At 7:10 p.m, police were called to reports of a large fight involving 20 people armed with weapons in the area of Great Western Road and Harrow Road in Westbourne Park. By the time police arrived, all the suspects had ran away, but a 17-year-old was taken to hospital shortly after the fight with a large slash wound to his face, and another man who was called Damani Charles, who was a HRB member known as Sav. He was stabbed in the abdomen by CGM member Jay Sav. Sav attempted to leave the scene but was found and treated by police. Now, officers went through 100 hours of CCTV footage and identified a further 6 suspects. At least 7 knives, a machete, and 1 firearm was branded.
I know I shouldn't laugh, but it's always this guy. Like, I don't know if you can see my mouse cursor or whatever. It's always this guy, bro. Quick VAR, like, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if he jumped out there. I can't even remember, but it's like the way that you're doing the B, bro. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Are you on it or are you not on it? When people are getting shot and stabbed, it's a bit mad, isn't it?
Now, officers went through 100 hours of CCTV footage and identified a further.
Tried to get in the car, and whoever was getting the car said, "Listen, we're out of here, bro. This is what I'm trying to say, bro. Where's the militants? Ain't nothing organized." just gone down somewhere, seen whoever, and just started letting off, and people getting stabbed, and it's just chaos. But I've seen this footage so many times, innit? It's been on quite a few different videos.
Suspects. At least 7 knives and machete
I had to get in the car, and now he's doing the high knees, bro. Jeez.
and 1 firearm was brandished during the course of the fight. CCTV helped detectives identify a grey vehicle that arrived at the scene just after 7 p.m, 10 minutes before the fight, with the 17-year-old and J-Sav inside. This vehicle was followed shortly by another red car carrying Digger D. On the 22nd of January, police searched J-Sav's address and carried out a warrant where they found clothing matching the suspects identified in the CCTV of the fight. Phone examination also placed the suspects at the scene of the fight. South Kilburn gangster J1 and other South Kilburn members were chased and shot at in their estate by rival HRB members. This was done in broad daylight as members of the public witnessed in horror while recording the event unfolded. HRB were not done applying pressure. On the 3rd of December 2019, South Kilburn members were walking through West Kilburn when they were approached by a HRB member on a bike who began firing at them. 1 South Kilburn member was shot. Emergency services were scrambled to Walton Road, close to where it meets Maida Hill. At 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday, to reports of a gunshot heard on the street, officers attended and found a man believed to be age 18 suffering from gunshot injury. A police spokesman said the man had been taken to hospital where he is in critical condition. However, his injuries are not thought to be life-threatening. On the 2nd of April 2020, HRB member Muscle Gotti was involved in a fatal car crash. He reportedly crashed into a tree in the Wembley area. Tributes came quickly from associates like Ratlin, Fredo, and others in the scene. Now CGM would mock Muscle Gotti's death, causing Fredo to respond. A back and forth ensued online.
I must not Christian. Man's not muscle.
Now I'm going to take you back to an event that happened in 2019 that would cause a ripple effect, dragging HRB into the mess. On the 5th of July 2019, on Harrow Road, Monks Park, Stonebridge member and friend of K. Coke, Smalls, real name Craig Smalls, was gunned down. The shooting was caught on CCTV. The shooter crept up close on an unaware Smalls standing.
And then, yeah, I remember this footage as well. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm not, listen, none of this is good. I'm just saying in terms of like, in the spirit of trying to keep innocent people out of the way of bullets and everything else, that's one way to do it, innit? That's, you know what I'm saying? Rather than just everybody like mad, innit? But yeah, mad.
Standing outside a chicken shop, who was shot at point blank range. And when it looked like the shooter was fleeing, he came back to shoot again while Smalls was lying on the floor. However, the shooter was not done riding. Moments later, he spotted Chalk Hill Boys member Big French sitting in a white car. He approached him from the front windshield and attempted to shoot him, but his gun jammed. Now in 2020, many CSB members were released from prison and held a block party to celebrate. Now a Stonebridge gang member, part of the SOS collective in Stonebridge, which stood for Shoot on Sight, would get intel of the party and ruin the fun. SOS member Crash Corn would slide. He spotted the CSB member along with his family and didn't hesitate to shoot. The CSB member was shot in the arm. His wife was shot 5 times in the chest. And the most heinous crime of them all, the 2-year-old was shot in the head. Fortunately,
I remember hearing about that. Jeez, Crash Corner, everybody. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not, like I keep saying, recurring themes. Killing people, that's not something we're saying, do you know what I'm saying? But like, if you really got it like that with someone, wouldn't you want to be making sure that you got the do you know what I'm trying to say? And I swear there was because of the kid died, like there was bare ride outs and just retaliation and all the rest of it. It's just madness, man. Madness.
all survived but had life-changing injury. Crash Corn would later be charged for triple attempted murder, but to everyone's surprise, he would manage to beat the case due to insufficient evidence. Now, for what Crash Corn did, his father was executed in Jamaica. Stonebridge members...
Yeah, sorry. That's, you get me? I didn't say it, but remember I was talking about, yeah, revenge and all them thing there. killed his dad. When you kill a kid, yeah, we're getting whoever. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's so dark, bro. It's actually pitch black, bro. I swear.
Would hold a vigil for the father of Crash Corn. HRB member Billy the Kid, who recently got out of jail, would gain intel on this vigil happening and prepare.
This is the story. I'm pretty sure they're gonna tell it now anyway.
An attack. However, before he put things into motion, he got a call letting him know his friend Arms was stabbed to death. Arms was from Warwick, where Billy the Kid was also from. Tragically, he lost his life after being stabbed in the early hours of July 15th, 2020. Now, Billy the Kid, who was already planning to crash the vigil, being held by Stonebridge members, now had even more of a reason to. Despite Stonebridge having nothing to do with Arms' death, they were affiliated with the Listen Green gang who were responsible. Upon hearing the news, Billy went to St. Raph's estate to round up 4 members, 2 of them being Bizzle and Gritty. They would get in the car with Billy and travel to the vigil to carry.
Listen to what this is the weirdest thing, bro. You know, like when the British police, bro. This is the weirdest thing, bro. Listen to this.
Out the drive-by shooting. However, before they could reach the destination, they were spotted by Monk Park's members who let their Stonebridge affiliates know. This allowed the Stonebridge members to be armed and ready. When they finally got to the vigil, Billy the Kid got out and opened fire indiscriminately, but missed. The Stonebridge members fired back and struck Billy twice in the back. Then multiple gunshots were being fired at the same time, resulting in one of the St. Raph members being shot in the leg, forcing them to drive off while Billy was hit and on the floor. People claimed they left Billy for dead, but they had no other choice. Bullets were flying. It was so chaotic that one Stonebridge member accidentally shot another in the arm. Members of the public recorded a video of Billy's body as paramedics were trying to resuscitate him. Billy was shot a total of 6 times. A week later, and on the 22nd of July 2020, South Kilburn rapper M. Low and Phibbs will drop the song titled No One. Lyrically, they spent majority of the track insulting Billy's death. It was a very rude one. Now, 3 of Billy's friends who rode out with him that night would be charged for his murder. You heard that right. Police couldn't find the Stonebridge members who killed Billy, so charged his friends instead. This is a legal doctrine known as joint enterprise. It allows individuals to be held criminally liable for a crime committed by
Never heard of that before this case, but apparently this is doctrine. But I'm obviously I'm not a lawyer, am I? But still, geez, I've never heard of anything like that. Just take that in. You know what I'm saying? Just take that in.
Another person if they participated in a crime or played a role in its commission, even if they did not directly carry out the act itself. In Billy's case, despite the fact that his friends Saeed, Yusuf and Mensa did not fire any of the shots that hit him, they were still convicted because they were part of the group that initiated the violent confrontation. The prosecution argued that by engaging in a planned retaliatory shooting, they shared intent and responsibility for the outcome, including Billy's death. Issa was sentenced to a minimum of 28 years before being eligible for parole. Adel Yusuf was sentenced to a minimum of 27 years before being eligible for parole. And finally, Daniel Mensa was sentenced to a minimum of 26 years before being eligible for parole.
Never heard nothing like that before, you know, until this. That's why it stuck with me so much when I heard about it.
Now, it's one thing to lose a friend while you are actively trying to get revenge for another friend you lost a day ago. But now you are doing football numbers behind bars while your friend's real killers are free. I don't think I've seen anyone take a bigger L in the streets than this. Now, for the murder of Billy the Kid, HRB would target South Kilburn as revenge. Despite them having nothing to do with it, their affiliation with Stonebridge, as well as their historic beef with them, was enough. So on the 12th of August 2020, at approximately 12:20 AM, South Kilburn member Gucci was tragically shot outside
his yard,
his home in Kilburn. Despite efforts of emergency services, he was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, in the days following his death, 2 men aged 27 and 36 were arrested on suspicion of murder, but were subsequently released under investigation. One of these men were Broad Day, who was very close with Billy the Kid and was an active gang member, which is a set located in Agar Grove, Camden. Rumors it was a paid hit by Fredo. This comes from the fact Fredo is seen on Instagram arguing with South Kilburn member Seth, telling him to get back for his boy, while Seth replies, "We don't pay anybody to do drillings." Now, if you're enjoying this video, please click the hype button. It takes no longer than 5 seconds, and it helps push this video and motivate me to push out more content.
Swear down. I've never seen no one plug the hype like this, bro. Let me pick up Skyboy. Hey.
Thank you. Now, Sven Badzak was an aspiring lawyer. He was from Maida Vale, which is the same territory as some HRB members. It is believed by many that Sven was no gang member. He merely grew up in the same area and knew some of the members. This picture of him with Ratlin would unfortunately later make him a target. On the evening of the 6th of February 2021, Sven and his 16-year-old friend had visited Waitrose supermarket and were returning home when they were approached by a group of 6 men. This group included Southside Killing members Broad Day Ye and Shocks, who attacked the pair. The attack was swift and brutal. Sven was stabbed in his chest and after collapsing was further assaulted by the group. His friend was also stabbed but managed to seek help at a nearby Tesco store. Despite paramedic efforts, Sven succumbed to his injuries at the scene. Following an extensive investigation, Broad Day Ye and Shocks were convicted of murder. They were each sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 27 years. Also, Southside Killing member Little H, real name Harvey Canavin, pleaded guilty to manslaughter and unlawful wounding and received a sentence of 7.
Who? What? Like the other Don, he didn't look like he weren't part of nothing. Like, and they said he's an aspiring lawyer. My Don, bro, he don't look no like part of no gang. And don't think because he don't look like black or anything. No, this is London. There's plenty of mix up people, and there's a bit of everything. But he looks like a serial killer. You know what I'm saying? Like just a whole different bracket. Like cats and dogs, and your mum and everyone's dead. You know what I'm saying? Mad.
1.5 years for manslaughter. Now, on the 19th of July 2022, HRB members were having a block party. Their enemies would get the drop. A South Kilburn gang member would be the driver, while the gunman would be a Ladbroke Grove gang member. Despite the rumors, he wasn't a CGM member, but rather from the older sets within Ladbroke Grove. They sought out blood as revenge for what happened to Gucci. Now, Wu, who was the older brother of Little Dots, would be shot outside a block of flats in Queen's Park, West London. There's even a video of his friends carrying him and driving him to the hospital, where he was shortly pronounced.
That's G Dots and Wu. Obviously, brothers of Little Dots. The dad, did they say the dad got killed as well? Yeah, just generations that just die into the gang thing, bro. It's mad.
Dead. Now, a post-mortem examination confirmed he died from a gunshot wound to the heart, and he had also been shot in the back. Now, there's an eerie video of Wu online where he's on camera saying, "I'm like Reese Money, see my hitters, they come quick." It was like he was foreshadowing the revenge his HRB members were going to get for his death, and he wasn't lying about them being quick. Not even a month passed after Wu's death, and South Kilburn was struck again. On the 4th of September 2022, police rushed to reports of gunshots in West London at 2:02 a.m. What they discovered was a man believed to be in his 20s who had suffered gunshot wounds. Now, that man was not
M-Lo,
none other than South Kilburn rapper M-Lo, real name Maximilian Cuso. He was given medical assistance at the scene and rushed to hospital, but was tragically pronounced dead at 5:32 a.m. HRB rapper Fredo would go on Snap and post this. In other words, half the job was done. The other half involved in Wu's murder was Ladbroke Grove, and the job will not be complete until they got revenge on them. On the 24th of October 2022, police found 2 firearms hidden in a bag in the service cupboard next to a flat. The guns were forensically linked to Little Dots and Keelan Granham. During the police activity, members in the HRB Snapchat group chat was alerted. Phones belonging to arrested HRB members were seized and downloaded, revealing the Snapchat group chat. The chat
trying to get burners. What they saying for Digger D? So peaking it. I don't know what if they go on the tracks. They do it. They go on Snap. Like honestly, these guys, man. But listen. They got the heart, but not the brains.
That contained brazen discussion about financing and buying guns. This evidence formed the core of the conspiracy case. On the 6th of November, HRB members led by Little Dots actively searched for and planned to ambush Digger D at Tape Studios as revenge for the death of his brother Wu. HRB members were allegedly tipped off by rapper Russ, who gained this information via his manager, who had seen Digger D at the studio. However, the plan was not executed as Digger D left the studio around 1 a.m, which caught them off guard. On the 10th of November, police searched a flat in Vauxhall Tower block and found a loaded gun hidden in a roof void. Additional firearms linked to the gang were recovered during a broader 6-month investigation in late 2022. Arrests of 8 HRB members were made. In August 2015, all 8 men were found guilty Judge Marcus Trigglegas Davey sentenced the men at Kingston Crown Court
Trigger gas.
to a total of 116 years. 6 defendants, Little Dots, Keelan Granham, Abdullah, Briggs Leon, Yassin, and Yakalo were sentenced to
So the other siblings dead. I'm pretty sure the dad dead, and Little Dots probably riding a big bird. You know what I mean? Like, it's mad.
17 years each, while Harry Crump was sentenced to 14 years and Abraham Safo Frimpong was sentenced to 2 years. Now, Fredo was named as a co-conspirator, but was not on trial as he went on the run. On the 27th of August 2023, during Notting Hill Carnival, police officers working on the security operation observed HRB member Sutty via CCTV in Ashmore Road, W9, and peculiarly noticed he had left a bag at the location. Officers from the City of London Police were deployed and they found a Glock pistol with ammunition in the bag. Sutty was later arrested nearby and taken into custody. Sutty later appeared in court in September 2023, where he pleaded guilty to possession of a firearm and ammunition and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Now, Loki is the founder and
Yes, people were talking about this on my sports channel as well. I was saying, who's the manager? It's Biordi, big up Fraley, and telling me about Loki as well because they're from Australia. But look at Sutty, yeah, like his dad, Sutty as well, dead. Him, jailed. You know, any family member, like, it's crazy, bro. The generations just taking it up and keeping it going strong.
owner of Biordi Music, an independent Australian label, started in 2019. Fredo officially signed with Biordi Music in August 2025 after meeting Low Key in Dubai. This came shortly after he liquidated his previous UK company. On the 2nd of April 2026, Fredo dissed several HRB members in his Fire in the Booth Part 2 freestyle, mainly due to built-up frustration over loyalty, money, and lack of support. Members like Yassin and Blacks would clap back on Snapchat/Instagram stories, accusing Fredo of snitching vibes in the past, not saying no comment in stations, and being disloyal now that he's in a better position. It's the classical UK drill in-house drama. Money plus loyalty issue.
I was gonna say, because that was the thing as well. And am I on the run? It was all because of this thing, and you get me. Even people close to me, I ain't gonna say names. They had certain things that had to kind of stop because of all this stuff going on, and yeah, you get me. crazy stuff, man.
Plus jail time exposing cracks. Fans are split. Some say Fredo is right to call out the dead weight. Others call him a snake for dissing people locked up for going against his ops.
And the thing is, he'd be this broad day. And these man is like, do you get me? Broad day and fucking Little Dots were like a little duo at one point and at the party with Capo and yeah. Now he's dissing broad day. So this is what I'm trying to say. When time and jail sentences are getting handed out and people need money, and then all of a sudden, you get me? Like, yeah. There's no real loyalty out there. And sometimes there is, but then more time you're either doing a big bird or you're dead. Crazy works.
Pretty crazy, because Fredo stood in a foreign booth thousands of miles away from Mozart, microphone in hand, and spoke the words no one wanted to hear. One by one, he buried the names of brothers who once rode as one. Smiley, Yassin, Blacks, men doing decades in cells they couldn't shoot their way out of. The same circle that once moved like a pack of wolves turned on itself. That brings me to the end of this video. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, crazy. Make sure you do like and subscribe. You get me? I'll make sure the link is under there. You know what I mean? If not straight away, then at some point. Yeah, the way that ended is like, yeah, and this is what was going on in the bits, like better talking, this one done that, this one done this, you get me? And it's like you're not gonna ride out, and it's just like, well, I won't even hear, and all this kind of madness, do you know what I'm saying? But people need money for their cases, or as I'm hearing, man didn't even drop no money or nothing, no one's books. I don't know. It's just mad, isn't it? It's just mad. But there you go, man. West London's deadliest gangs, HRB. So there's probably going to be maybe some more from Skyboy on some West London gangs, and we're going to keep it moving for all different, you know what I'm saying? Not just London, as you know already, but yeah, lots more London stuff to come because there's so many. You know what I'm trying to say at the end of the day? But anyway, Waffle Stations, nearly 40 minutes long. Let me leave it there. Like, share, subscribe. Back again soon, my pig.
You borrowed my car now. Don't wreck my shit.
Man, nobody gonna wreck your damn car.
I ain't gonna wreck my shit.
Put your hands up. Man, give me the damn keys. Nobody gonna wreck your damn car. How my damn nerves?
He was smacking me like that. He put his hands on me again. I'm gonna knock the pixie dust out of his ass. Let's start this month.
Oh, what? Pop, 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 pop. Oh, what? Pop, 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 pop.
Hey, man, what's wrong with your car?
Ain't nothing wrong with my car. You just ain't doing it right.
Don't.
Oh, what? Pop, 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 pop. Vroom. 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 Vroom, vroom, vroom.
Oh, nah, hell nah. Nah. Hey, man.
Hey, I'm gonna walk, man. You